Right now at noon, an update on the investigation into a Beloit homicide, the new information from police. Plus, what the president's blockade of sanctioned oil tankers in Venezuela could mean ahead of his address to the nation tonight. You're watching News 3 Now at noon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Spreiter. Breaking news, Slenderman attacker Morgan Geyser will not fight the state's attempt to revoke her release privileges. This follows the 23-year-old's escape from her Madison group home last month. Geyser cut off her GPS monitor and ran away. Police found and arrested her at a truck stop just outside of Chicago. In July, a judge signed off on Geyser's conditional release, despite opposition from the State Department of Health Services. In 2014, Geyser, along with her friend Anissa Weier, lured one of their classmates to a Waukesha park. The then 12-year-old Geyser nearly stabbed the victim to death while Weier egged her on. The two admitted to doing so in an attempt to please a fictional horror character. Both were committed to a mental health institute. Weier was released in 2021. Now let's get a check of your first warm forecast with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh. Temperatures continuing to be very comfortable, especially considering what we just saw. And we also are seeing a good amount of sunshine. Current temperatures mostly in the 30s across Dane County. A few locations getting close to 40, and some areas also kind of still in those upper 20 ranges. But for the most part, we are seeing temperatures just a little bit above normal. And this is also going to continue with just a few days here and there with the temperatures dropping just for a few days. And then as we take a look at the temperatures throughout the afternoon, continuing to see sunshine, continuing to see 30s. And overnight, we're not expecting the temperatures to cool down. In fact, they're expected to warm up as we head towards morning, where we could see low temperatures, or not low temperatures, but temperatures by tomorrow morning in the lower 40s. And we also will see that as our next chance of rain. So as we take a look at Futurecast, we'll continue to see a good amount of sunshine throughout the day. Clouds will develop overnight, and that will lead to the chance of rain much later in the night into Thursday morning. And it's certainly going to start out as rain, and this will continue through the morning. But as those temperatures cool down, we will get into kind of a battle zone with those temperatures as they do fall below freezing, with some of that rain transitioning to snow. And then we could continue to see the chance of snow throughout the afternoon and evening. Mostly light snow, but the potential for some snow squalls will be there. Now, the snow squalls are not going to last too long, but they could bring some minor accumulation when they do fall. And of course, when we do see those snow squalls, it will create low visibility. So the possibility of that will be there for the afternoon, but we're still not expecting a large amount of snowfall. I don't expect to see anything more than an inch for some areas, and we will continue to see, for the most part, these comfortable temperatures, but I'll talk about a few cold days coming up a bit later.
All right, Jacob, we'll see you then. Thank you. Right now, President Trump is ramping up his efforts to force Venezuela's president out of power. The president is ordering a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers using Venezuelan ports, taking aim at the nation's main source of revenue. Natalie Brand reports.
It's the latest escalation in what's been a massive military buildup off the coast of Venezuela. President Trump announcing on social media he's ordering a, quote, total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. He called the Maduro regime illegitimate, saying the government is using oil to fund drug terrorism.
No blood for oil. No war for oil.
The president's post comes a week after the administration seized a sanctioned oil tanker that had just left port and follows at least 25 deadly strikes on alleged drug boats. Navy Admiral Frank Bradley returns to Capitol Hill today to speak to the House and Senate Armed Services Committees on the strikes as Democrats continue to question their legality.
For all of their claims that this is about drug trafficking, this is about regime change.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Secretary of State Marco Rubio briefed all members of Congress Tuesday, but some lawmakers on both sides were left questioning the administration's overall strategy.
Is it the policy to take Maduro down? It should be if it's not. And if he goes, what's going to happen next?
Their policies in the Caribbean are unclear. We don't know what the limits are. We don't know where they'll stop.
Venezuela called President Trump's latest actions a reckless and grave threat, violating international law and free trade. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
The president will speak tonight at 8 o'clock our time. CBS News will interrupt the finale of Survivor to air the address. Once the president is done speaking, the rest of the finale will play, and we'll air News 3 Now at 10 right after that. We have new information about a deadly plane crash near the Monroe Airport last month. The preliminary report says the single-engine aircraft tried to land in dense fog. NTSB officials say it was far below the minimums needed for a safe landing. Flight data shows the plane climbing and turning before striking mining equipment, roughly a half a mile from the airport. Witnesses reported a loud explosion at the time of impact. 2 men in their 40s died in that crash. Beloit police are now confirming the person found dead in a vehicle with suspected links to a Beloit homicide was a person of interest. That homicide happened 1 week ago. Someone shot 25-year-old Ariana Phobes to death on Colony Court. Hours later, troopers in Illinois tried to pull over a vehicle with suspected ties to the shooting. The driver didn't pull over, leading law enforcement on a chase that ended near Princeton, Illinois. That's 45 minutes south of Beloit. The exact location the chase ended was at the Great Sauk Rest Area on I-80 West. When officers made contact, they found the driver dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Officials didn't provide that person's name. Beloit police have still not said what led to the shooting, but say it was an isolated incident. Right now, a Madison man is facing charges for disorderly conduct as a hate crime. Madison police say a 40-year-old man walked into a Jewish nonprofit on UW's campus around 6:15 Monday night. He was wearing what appeared to be a bulletproof vest and a Palestinian flag. Witnesses say the man kept a hand in his pocket as if he was pointing to a gun. No weapons were seen, and the man didn't make specific threats. Now to continuing coverage of a proposed data center in DeForest. Last night, the village board members read a draft of an agreement they'd require QTS to enter into before the company can annex and purchase 1,600 acres in the town of Vienna. This would have to include restrictions on construction and operations, funding public infrastructure, and public safety improvements, along with guardrails for water, wastewater, and storms. QTS was not there last night. The next meeting of the proposed data center is in January. Coming up next on News 3 Now at noon, why FIFA is lowering ticket prices for the World Cup, plus what the newest numbers of unemployment could mean for the economy.
You're watching News 3 Now at noon. Moving forward.
U.S. employers added 64,000 jobs in November, though the economy also shed 105,000 jobs in October, according to the latest Labor Department data. The November numbers beat economists' expectations, but unemployment has hit a 4-year high, rising to 4.6% in November. FIFA, the governing body of football, or soccer as we say in the U.S., says it's slashing prices for next year's World Cup matches in North America. Following global backlash over skyrocketing ticket costs, FIFA now says teams' most loyal fans can snag select seats starting at $60. The $60 tickets will be given to national team federations for distribution among their fans. Some $60 tickets will also be available for the World Cup final, which had been priced upwards of $4,000. And the Powerball jackpot keeps climbing. The prize for tonight's drawing has reached more than $1.2 billion, with a cash value of more than $572 million. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Jesse Mitchell.
Here's a look at the stock report at the noon hour. We're in the red at this hour. Dow Jones is down 65 points, NASDAQ down 233, and the S&P 500 also down 47. Our Call for Action volunteers are in the building taking your consumer complaints and taking action on your behalf. Call for action at 608-270-2833 or submit a claim anytime at channel3000.com/call-for-action. Pam has today's farm numbers up next, and Jacob is tracking the first warn forecast. And later on Live at 4, I catch up with some bell ringers to learn how the Red Kettle campaign continues to give back in the 608. Welcome back. Let's check in now with Pam Jahnke for the Midwest Farm Report. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Josh. Today we want to focus in on dairy consumption. It's the holiday season. We all know the charcuterie boards are going out. Cheese boxes are a gift. In Wisconsin, we pay attention to consumption, and it's been going up. Not necessarily reflected in our Wisconsin Dairy Farmers Milk Check, but still I wanted them to see that their messages are working. Take, for example, butter. Butter consumption. Now, these are 2024 numbers, but we see the same trends in 2025. Butter consumption has really broken all the records. It surpassed all previous records with an all-time high of 6.8 pounds of butter per person being consumed. Total cheese consumption is holding very strong despite economic challenges, about 42 pounds per person. Cottage cheese seeing a little bit of a resurgence, about 13% higher per capita consumption on cottage cheese, promoted in large part by social media and TikTok videos. If you take a look at the one item that I'm sure a lot of dairy farmers will train their eye, milk, the fluid milk product, still basically flat, has been for the past decade or so at 127 pounds per person. Like I said, I know that these numbers don't translate over to what our dairy farmers are seeing in their milk check, but I still wanted them to know, despite world milk supplies and what's going on globally, domestically, dairy is still on top of the grocery list. Talking about who's on top as far as awards, the Wisconsin Farmers Union wrapped up their convention over the weekend and recognized some of the true leaders, the grassroots movement that the Wisconsin Farmers Union is all about. Congratulations to Tom Moskoller. He is a grass-fed beef producer and nationally recognized leader when it comes to organizational development and community change. Tom Moskoller was given the Friend of the Family Farmer Award during the Wisconsin Farmers Union 95th Annual Convention. And then their executive director picked up the inaugural Live Oak Legacy Award. Her name, Julie Keown-Bomar, and she has been a big part of the Wisconsin Farmers Union for the past 7 years' time. She served as executive director, and she's also been part of the strategic planning that went on with Wisconsin Farmers Union, moving their headquarters to downtown Chippewa Falls, a building that they basically refurbished, turned into living accommodations, apartments, as well as Market on River, which is a retail location. And Julie Keown-Bomar, big part of why that got done. All right, let's take a look at what's going on with the markets today. Like you heard already, Wall Street is showing some red ink. In our commodities, I just glanced at my screens. Right now, it looks like wheat and soybeans feeling some downward pressure. We are still finding a lot of outward bound cargo of corn that's headed to the world marketplace. Corn has been the exception, not the rule, to what's happening with our global trade situation, so that's good news. As far as dairy is concerned today, again, a very, very quiet Wednesday. Barrel cheese stood still at $1.40. 40-pound block cheese on a Wednesday unchanged at $1.39 3/4. The good news I bring to you today as far as dairy prices, butter up a penny and a half at $1.46 3/4. I don't know, Josh, do you feel like you were on a record-breaking pace of butter consumption? Because it sure looks like the general public was.
Well, I know I've been eating a lot of baked goods lately, so maybe that's part of it, Pam.
That's right. That's okay. We'll take it.
Well, hey, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm off for the holidays now, so I probably won't see you until the new year. So hope you have a good holiday.
All right, same to you, my friend. Enjoy it.
Then we'll see you next year. Here comes that joke. Time now for your certified most accurate forecast with First Warn meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Josh, here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see a rain-snow mix begin tonight and continue tomorrow. Then we'll see a brief cool down for Friday before we do see temperatures warm up a little bit again after that. And for the most part, we're not going to see a lot of precipitation going forward. This rain-snow chance is really going to be the only solid chance we have over the next several days. So let's take a look at the precipitation forecast once again. Clouds are going to increase this evening and overnight, but the rain won't move in until much later. We'll see some light showers late in the night into early Thursday morning, and then the rain is going to continue through the late morning, but temperatures will actually cool down throughout the afternoon, allowing that rain to transition to snowfall, and then throughout the afternoon, we're going to continue to see the chance of some light snow. But as I mentioned earlier, these snow shower chances in the afternoon could lead to some snow squalls, which may produce about a ½ inch of snow. These snow squalls are very brief, sudden downpours of snowfall that don't typically last too long, but when they are occurring, they could really reduce visibility and cause it to accumulate very quickly. But again, because they don't last very long, I don't expect to see much accumulation from them Then as we get towards the overnight hours, some light snow showers may continue. And then the closer we get to Friday at sunrise, the less likely the snow will become. Now, as we take a look at the temperature change that we're going to see for Friday, we are going to drop down quite a bit, but this cool down is not expected to last too long. So looking at the wind chill forecast, they'll be in the 20s and teens throughout the rest of today and tonight, warming up into the 30s tomorrow morning. But then again, like I mentioned, we're going to cool down quite a bit for tomorrow afternoon through tomorrow evening. And then tomorrow night into Friday morning, we're expecting wind chills to drop below zero, possibly into the negative teens. Now, they will warm up back above zero for Friday afternoon and possibly into the teens before the day is over. And then from there, it's not expected to be as cold going forward. But looking at the high temperature trend, we could get to the 40s tomorrow, but then we're only going to see the highs around 20 for Friday, warming back up for Saturday, then cooling down again for Sunday before the temperatures mostly steady out for next week. They'll fluctuate a little bit, but we're going to see a lot of highs in the 30s at that point in time. And as I mentioned earlier, not really expecting a lot of precipitation chances after the system tonight into tomorrow. We could see some snowfall Monday, but at this point in time, it doesn't look like it's going to be too significant. We'll continue to update the forecast accordingly. Right now, the Christmas week looks to be fairly quiet. Again, that Monday snowfall might produce some light accumulation, but beyond that, I don't expect to see a massive amount of snowfall added to the snow that's already on the ground. And the snow that is on the ground, it's kind of melting away a little bit, and it may continue to melt away with the generally warmer temperatures. Obviously, Friday and Sunday will still be cold, though.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, the Wisconsin volleyball team is headed to the Final Four, and so is News 3 Now. Our Nash Dara is on his way to Kansas City to bring us coverage of the game against #1 seeded Kentucky.
The road trip has officially begun. I am just a couple of hours now into my journey from Madison, Wisconsin, going to the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City for tomorrow night's matchup at 8 o'clock, the semifinal of the NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament with the Wisconsin Badgers taking on the Kentucky Wildcats. Now, I am in Anamosa, Iowa, which is just about 45 minutes southwest of Dubuque. So like I said, the journey has just begun. Still about 4.5 hours left in my trip to reach my destination. But I will keep you updated all throughout the day and tomorrow as Wisconsin looks to make it to the national championship for the first time since 2021. In Anamosa, Nash Dara, News 3 Now.
Nash, thank you. On Wisconsin, you can stay with News 3 Now and Channel3000.com for continuing coverage of all things Badger volleyball. Up next at noon, Angie Horkin sits down with our Susan Simon with how to make a prime rib pasta this holiday season.
Angie Horkin is here from the Wisconsin Beef Council. Okay, you made your prime rib for the holiday. Now, what do you do with the leftovers?
Right. Okay. Do you have leftovers?
Right. Good question.
Sometimes, yes. It depends on what size you buy.
This is a great recipe. What are you making?
Okay. Yes. So we actually have a leftover prime rib recipe. Now, caveat: you could use any steak in this recipe if you have any steak left over. But it's Christmas, and we're doing a prime rib.
Yep.
And so we're going to put our leftover prime rib in some butter.
Just some melted butter.
So I melted some butter.
Oh, does that smell good?
So it calls for a pound. I didn't really know. I just cubed it up, kind of like that. Now we're gonna add in some fun ingredients.
Okay.
I got half of a cup of beef broth, sun-dried julienne tomatoes, which I did buy in the jar. So they do have a little oil in them, but I thought that would add some great flavor.
Yeah.
Cherry tomatoes. About a cup.
And the beef is all cooked, so you're really just browning everything up.
The beef is all cooked, so you're just kind of heating it through.
Okay, some broccoli.
You do have to do a little bit ahead. So I blanched the broccoli ahead of time. And then I cooked the penne pasta ahead of time. How's my burner? Okay, we're good. So cook your broccoli ahead of time. Maybe when you're chunking up your prime rib, blanch it. And then calls for a whole box of penne, 16 ounce.
All in one pan. That couldn't
be
easier.
Let's see if my pan's big enough. Oh,
Yeah.
Garlic.
Yeah, don't forget the garlic. Okay.
There's garlic in about every Beef Council recipe. Just a fun fact there. Garlic and beef. Okay, so yeah.
And this is your pre-cooked pasta.
This is, yep, I cooked it ahead. Mine's cold right now, but you'd put it in hot. But yeah, we're getting close to the end. Cheese. Melt that. I just got some fresh shredded Parmesan.
It smells so good.
And then we've got lemon juice. We put that in.
Lemon juice and truffle oil.
And truffle oil.
Which is fancy.
Don't have
but
any seeds.
Available in most grocery stores,
Well,
right?
do a little research.
Okay.
I did find it in my little town.
Great. And then you just
drizzle these in. A little truffle oil. Now, I think you don't have to splurge on the white truffle oil because we have enough flavor going on here. But if you want to, go try it.
Make it extra special.
And then parsley. Put a little bit of, oh, now if you eat with your eyes like I do,
Yeah, me
this
too.
is very festive because we have a lot of red and green in here.
Yes.
It looks delicious. Now at home, yeah, you know, when your cheese is melted.
Not to mention, it's
You're ready.
all in one pot. It's all 4 food groups there. And I mean, it couldn't be healthier, actually.
This is meal 2. Our first meal was our herbed prime rib roast with our horseradish sauce. We didn't put any horseradish sauce on this, but then our meal 2 is our prime rib pasta with broccoli and cheese.
Making our dollar go as far as possible.
Making our dollar go as far as possible. And like you said, not many dishes here. So beeftips.com, we've got a Beef of Your Holidays page. We've got everything on there. We try to, all of our recipe collections, all of our great recipes, videos, cooking tips, temperatures, times temperatures, thermometer information. Check it out.
Best time of the year.
It is. Have a great holiday meal.
Thank you, Ange.
Susan and Angie, thank you. Thanks for joining us today at noon. We're back with more Live at 4.